everybody, I am Kimbo and I blog at A Girl in a Glue Gun, and I decided to hop on today from my very messy craft room. I was going to clean it up and then I thought I'll just be real with you, which is just my excuse because I was too lazy to clean it up. And talk to you guys about photo tips. And I'm not going to be talking about camera or editing or Photoshop or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about good techniques when taking photos. I've run across a lot of really cute Etsy shops and blogs and stuff. And with this day and age, with Pinterest and with all the social media, to have good quality photos is really what's going to put your business above the rest. And I feel like a big hypocrite talking about it because when I first started blogging, I have the worst photos. I want to go back and delete like the first 3 years of my blogging existence because it was just like, you know, I had 3 kids, little kids, and so I would craft at night and I would just take photos at night and they would be like on my floor and on my carpet, and it was just, they're horrible. They're so horrible. So I just wanted to talk about all these fun little tips and tricks that I've come across and wanted to share them with you guys. And you don't have to necessarily have an Etsy or a blog, you know, to utilize any of these. They'd be good for taking photos, you know, of your kids, or, you know, if you just want to make sure that your photos are the best that they can be. Because if you really look through, like, the things that catch my eye on Instagram are just these bright, beautiful photos. And so I think it's just really important this day and age, you know, with Pinterest and stuff. So the first thing that I want to talk about is good lighting, which seems simple, right? Kind of. But I don't know. There's a lot of effort that goes into it because, especially when the stupid daylight savings time comes, I feel like when it gets dark at like 4:30 or something, like there goes my whole day of taking photos. But daytime is the best. Nice, bright, sunny days are amazing to take photos in. I don't ever take photos in the direct sun. It casts really harsh shadows. So I take a lot of stills. So it's not necessarily of people, but of like props of crafts and stuff like that. And so it's really important not to have those shadows. So I love bright, sunshiny days. Overcast days are my favorite because you can go anywhere. You can, you know, stand in the middle of the street and there's no shadows or anything like that. But I picked my craft room. I stuck my 2 kids downstairs. I have one still upstairs, but I stuck my 2 kids downstairs because I needed a craft room that had a lot of bright light. And that's where I am, my messy, messy, messy craft room. And so I stole it from my children just because I needed that bright light, because it's just that important. And like I said, it doesn't even matter what kind of, if you even have a fancy camera, you can use these trips just using your iPhone. I actually take a lot of my Instagram photos with my iPhone, and then sometimes when I'm crafting, my camera will be all the way in the other room, and so I'll just take photos with my iPhone. So you don't even have to have a fancy camera to use these tips. So important is light. What's really important is facing the light. So you want your project facing the light. So I'm facing the light, so it's probably picking up every wrinkle and, you know, old age stuff going on here and all the crap behind me. But facing the light is really important. And I'll show you, let me flip you around real fast. So here is my window. I hope you don't get a big glare. And I bought this little bench right there. And I put my board right there and I set it up so I'm right there by the light, as long as the light isn't casting in. So like about 4 o'clock, I'll get lots of light coming in and I will have the shadows and the lines of the light. But for right now, that's perfect. And that's usually where I set it up. It's just right there. So I just want it brightest light. And what's one thing that was really hard for me when I first started blogging was, like, if I did a cute sign for my bathroom, I wanted to put it in my bathroom and take a picture of it in my bathroom. And my bathroom has the one little teeny tiny rectangular window, right? So it's going to have horrible lighting. So that's what's really hard, is that just because you're crafting it for a specific space doesn't mean you necessarily need to take that photo in that space, right? You can move it around. Another thing is nature is a huge huge, great big photography backdrop, right? If you really, it makes me laugh when I think of pictures that I've taken, because like I have this one picture of, it's a cute bucket and it has a blanket coming out of it, and the blanket has vinyl on it. But it's like in the middle of the road, and like this old, it's got a bunch of trees and stuff. But I just think, what is this basket with blankets doing in the middle of this old abandoned street? You know, like it makes no sense, but it's just really pretty to look at. And so I miss summer during the winter months because I like to take a lot of photos outside, and the snow's pretty. You know, snow's okay to take photos in as well, but like right now our snow's half melted, so we have this brown slush, not so pretty for photos. So I love the summertime because I love the old fences and the old barns and, you know, pretty streets and trees and parks, and I think those are really great for photos, especially if you're doing big things. Like if you've got a quilt, those are so hard to take photos of, just because they're huge. So I love when you can go find just a big old fence and you can throw your quilt over it. That's such a good way to take a photo. And if you sew clothes, or if you're a fashion blogger, or you just want to take pictures of your kids, I just prefer nature to anything else because I just think it's pretty fun. I'm in Pocatello, Idaho. It's like the smallest, well, it's not super small, but it's small. And so there's some big cities that have these really fun painted walls. I don't know if you've even heard of them. They have like wall crawls, like where you go and find all these fun walls to take photos in front of, and we've got like nothing. I think we have like one lime green wall that I can think of in all of town. So if you are in a big city, you could totally go to a place that's got lots of fun colored walls for backdrops. Okay, so I wanted to I showed this on my Instagram stories, and everybody was asking questions about it, which is what inspired this whole video. But I wanted to show these fun things that I found at Hobby Lobby. They are poster boards. Let me see if I can lift them up. They're poster board size. So they're really big size. They're $3.99 a piece, so $4, but you know, if you can catch them on sale, or if you can use your coupon code, then they're going to be about $2. And what I love about them is that, like, there is a whiteboard. I've got this fun pink. They have a pink with it's a dark pink with a little bit lighter polka dots. And I've got this blue, and it's a little ombre. And then I just have a wood one. And I love these because they're big, right? And they're fun colored. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I like fun colors. I try to keep my Instagram really colorful and bright, and that's not everybody's technique. So I just kind of picked, my colors are pink and blue, and then this lime greenish color, which doesn't come off quite this bright in photos. And I try to do white just to balance out all the color. So those are the kind of the colors that I stick with, but they have lots of different colors, and you can kind of think if you're coming up, like if you have an Etsy shop and you want it to look cohesive. So if they're looking at it as a whole, if they're looking at your Instagram as a whole or your Etsy as a whole, you want it to make sure that it looks like they all belong together. I mean, they don't have to be all matchy-matchy, but, you know, I've seen a lot of people just use the white backdrop on each photo, and it looks really cohesive. So kind of decide what you're going for. So I do the color. That's what I like. So I just make sure that every color that I buy is kind of in that color realm. So I loved these poster boards. They're by the scrapbook paper. They are, I'm just going to tell you the brand real fast. We Are Memory Keepers. I don't know if you guys know that. I know it's going to be backwards because my camera's flipped around, but that's what the logo looks like. And then they actually have, this is just a plain poster board, and so it's cheaper. I think this one's only $1.14. And they have a lot of different colors. They even have gold. They've got glitter gold. They've got, I mean, a ton of variety. So I love those. I love the poster boards because, let's say you're taking something that's standing up. Let me think. All right, look, I got a high-heeled tape over here. So let me flip you around real fast. This is going to be a little awkward. Okay, so I love the poster boards because you can bend them. I'm going to take my phone out of the case. So you can bend it. So you can get something that's not flat and still have the color down here and then the color up there. So I love the poster boards for that reason, is that you can bend. Do you see what I'm talking about? Or something else that's 3D. We'll do the yarn. So it's just kind of cohesive. And I love this with white. So if you want something that's got a nice white pop, the white poster boards, or I buy white poster boards in bulk. They're one of my favorite tools to use. So that's what those look like. And like I love the color of them, and I love that you can bend them. But you got to keep in mind that over time, there's going to be a lot of wear and tear with them. It's just going to happen. The corners are going to bend. They're going to get dirty. So that's why I don't like spending a whole lot of money on stuff like that. My next one is a little bit smaller, and it is scrapbook paper. I'm going to get one of these boards. Okay, let me flip you back around. Okay, so scrapbook paper. I get a lot, and it kind of just depends on the season. This blue one I got at Hobby Lobby, and I also got, I think this one's Joann. So check the craft store, just the scrapbook paper. And you can see those are great. So they're not huge, they're 12 by 12. So if you're doing something a little bit smaller, see how good that looks? No one can even tell that it's a piece of scrapbook paper once you zoom in. And so I usually just go seasonal wise. So like I went for Christmas time, and I grabbed, you know, some buffalo plaid and some stripes. And, you know, just try to be a little bit festive. I don't like too patterny. So this red stripe one's, I mean, there's a lot going on with it because it's pretty busy. So I try to make sure that whatever I put on there is a big, like, let's say, I'm glad I didn't clean my craft room because I'm just grabbing crap here and there. So this is a cute bag. So let's say I'm doing a cute bag, and then I've got something cute on it. But see, that red and white would be really cute with that. The problem that I run into with the stripes is that you have to make sure when you're taking photos or editing that they're purposely skewed or they're perfectly straight. Because when they're just a tiny bit off, it kind of just messes with my eye. And that just might be me because I'm OCD about stuff like that. This is what I bought at Amazon. It's a bunch of wood backdrops. I think they're double-sided. Yeah, they're double-sided. So the top are these nice soft creams and whites, and then the bottom are these. And so I'll link up where I got the stuff that I can link up to. But I really liked these because, I don't know, I think wood's kind of classic as far as backdrops. Nice distressed wood. And I don't know about you guys, but even though I feel like our house is big enough, we're running out of space, and my husband doesn't want to store a bunch of wood backdrops, you know, just because I need to use them occasionally. So I think the scrapbook paper is just a nice, easy way to store stuff. So I'm trying to show you guys examples, because I think when you look at scrapbook paper like that, you think that's weird, but when you zoom in and take a picture, see, I just like it because it's super soft and subtle, and it's not very overwhelming. And then look, I went and I bought stuff for Valentine's Day. I bought some pinks for Valentine's Day. So I just kind of seasonally will grab some if I know I'm doing something small. These work, I really like these when I'm doing printables for my blog, because usually the printables are not bigger than a piece of paper. You know, they're pretty small and short. I'm trying to think if I have any printables around here. I also have Christmas stuff laying around. Let's see. So look, I've got a cute little card. See, and the polka dots are just nice and subtle. So I don't try to go too busy. So, all right. So poster boards, scrapbook paper. I'm making a bigger mess than it started out with. My third tip is wrapping paper, or wallpaper, or paper liners, anything like that. I hoard ridiculous. I have a whole basket in my closet right there. I pulled out a few favorites, but I just buy whatever I come across just because I just think it's pretty. And so you can use it for wrapping paper. It's really pretty in photo props, you know, to have things wrapped up pretty, but I just like it as backdrops as well. So this is one I just bought at Hobby Lobby. Can you just tell I went shopping at Hobby Lobby and I haven't cleaned it up? I loved this pink with the gold. It's pretty. Little polka dots. So this is basically the same idea as scrapbook paper, except for you're getting 3 feet by however long you need. And I like that you can just, bigger things. I don't know, I have a variety of things. So if I'm crafting jewelry is so small and you can use scrapbook paper. And if I'm crafting, you know, like a big wood sign, I'm going to need a big backdrop. So like this probably wouldn't fit on a piece of scrapbook paper, right? Ooh. Like it barely fits on that. So I just like to have size options. And I like variety. And I like to have an excuse to buy pretty things. So I just use it for my blog and then I get to write it off for tax season, right? That works. And then here's I've got a pretty subtle blue. It's got little lines. And then I even have, this is by Hazel and Ruby. This is actually tissue paper, but I loved using the gold polka dots. I think they are really fun. So I always buy wrapping paper, and I never use it for like presents, unless it's someone that would appreciate the cute wrapping paper. But I always feel like people they just rip it open and they don't even care that the wrapping paper is adorable. So I use it for my backdrops instead. And it usually comes in, I don't know how many, 5 yards. Some of them are 5 yards. I've got some really pretty ones that are 5 yards long. So, you know, after you use it, like if you're doing food, if you put a donut down on it, you're going to have that really gross, greasy donut, you know, residue left over. So I like it because I just feel like you can ruin it and you can tear it off and throw it away and you don't feel too bad. Okay, so scrapbook paper, poster board, wrapping paper, boards. So I have a bunch of boards, like wood boards that I've painted. And these are the ones that I use the most. They're just very simple. I didn't do too many colors. So I have a robin's egg blue and a lime citron green, I think is the spray paint color. I have a yellow. And what's funny is the yellow and the citron green, once you take the photo and like brighten it up, they look so similar in Instagram photos. You can't even notice. And then I have a turquoise. And then I painted the back, and the back is a pink. So those are the main basic blog colors that I use. So like I said, if you're doing, a lot of people really like that dusty rose, that blush pink color. You can paint those, that color. You can paint, you know, if you like oranges or fall colors or whatever. So you just look at cohesive. And there's nothing wrong with just using plain black and white. I have a chalkboard one, and I use this a lot when I'm doing back to school stuff, or teacher printables or stuff like that, because I run 1+1 on it or whatever, and I can erase it. So I use the chalkboard one a lot, even though it's not bright. And then I'll show you this big, huge mama. It's a foam core board. I also got at Hobby Lobby, and it's way bigger than normal foam core boards. This one is, I'm not even going to measure, 3 feet by 4 feet maybe? Does that look right, anybody? Anyway, it's huge, and I actually use that a lot. I like to keep a nice white background when I'm making my YouTube videos. And so, because it bothers me when I'm making a YouTube video and you can see the end of the board, you can see my carpet after that, and that really drives me crazy. And so, I love that it's huge, so I don't run out of room on that one. Oh, and the last one. So I have boards, I have scrapbook paper, I have wallpaper or wrapping paper, I have poster boards, and then the last one is fabric. And fabric comes in so many colors and patterns, and so it's really fun. My only complaint with fabric is that sometimes you have to iron it. So like you can see, this one is so cute. I just bought that at Hobby Lobby. It's gold. Isn't that pretty? But you usually have to iron it because there's lines in it. So I love using fabric, but I don't like ironing, so it's a double-edged sword. I don't know what to do about it, but I'll show you this is all my fabric. Well, no, that is some of my fabric. So you can see I have tons of colors, tons of patterns, so that is a super easy to use as a backdrop. Okay, so those are all of the backdrops I use, and what I love about them is they're all pretty flat, right? So I have one little spot and I just shove all my poster boards, my boards, and my scrapbook paper in one little thing, and then of course my fabric. But all right, so I kind of wanted to show you how I do a flat lay. A flat lay is still object, so it's not going to be a person, it's just going to be, so if you are selling a necklace or if you're selling a shirt or a cup, this is kind of how I would do a flat lay. So I gotta clean up my mess. I just want you to do this craft room right here, because what you're seeing is one little tiny square. It's like a freaking jungle gym to get through here. What you're seeing is this pretty little tiny thing of a flower, like that big, but what you're not seeing is this big mess behind it. So there's my secrets for the day. I hope you guys don't feel like you need to go buy a $1,000 camera. Because like I said, I take most of my Instagram photos with my phone just because it's in my hand all the time, and my other camera is, you know, all the way in the living room, and that's just too far for me. So, all right, let me know if you guys have any questions.